Good evening, RPG Limit Break, and welcome to the Final Fantasy Randomizer Duck Derby 2021 Racing Towards Ryukon. I'm your host, Dark Moon EX, here for this first game of our 4-game Duck Derby, joined in the booth by Sir Link-a-Lot tonight for this very special presentation. Link, how's it going over there?
It's going amazing. I was thinking that being on like the opposite side, not racing, I was going to be all depressed because I had so much fun in my Duckling Derby.
Yeah.
But I think I'm even more excited being on this side, just getting to see what the Ducklings are going to do now.
It's fun, and then you can see who's going to be challenging you as the Duckling Supreme.
That too, I get to see who I'm going to be passing the torch off to.
So if you're not aware of what the Duck Derby is, this is our biannual championship at this point for all of our new players. We have a very robust new player program here in Final Fantasy Randomizer, and we like to train our ducklings via the Duckling Boot Camp, which you may have seen here on RPG Limit Break for the last 8 weeks, and then give them a chance to get their feet wet and show what they can do in a tournament-style setting. This right here is that tournament-style setting. We'll be doing this for the next 4 weeks, counting today, on Monday evenings until we find our top player, who we'll crown the new Duckling Supreme. And they'll get to fight with Sir Link-a-Lot, our previous Duckling Supreme, in a Tournament of Champions thereafter. So, I know you and I were looking at the flags earlier. This is what we like to call Free Enterprise, because it's inspired by the FF4 Free Enterprise randomizer that's out there. So, free airship, just gotta kill the fiends, then get to Topher and kill the final fiends there and win the game. Considering what we have, and that we have, I know Blur's classes are on with Black Belt that's kind of a hit tank, what kind of a party would you have taken for this, Link?
I feel like probably like the party I would choose would be like a single Black Belt and then, probably Red Mage, double Black Mage, or double Red Mage, Black Mage. Mm-hmm. And then depending on how spells and everything roll out, just end up danning somebody off probably and running a 3-man party. Kind of like how it looks like Petron is just going to start off with the 3-man party to just initially just start giving that experience right over to his party. Like I said, there's no random encounter, so we're going to be looking for a spike tile, and it's actually kind of interesting. We actually see 4 different parties, so
I know
all 4 ducklings.
I like that.
Different ideas on what they're going to need to do on these flags.
You and I were talking, and it's like, black belt, red, black belt, red, black belt, red, black. We were expecting 4 variants on that one, and to see 4 very different takes. We've got the, what's normally considered a safety party, the fighter rainbow there of red, black, white. We've got Petron, who has a party I love. The don't even worry about danning someone off the 4th slot. They're already gone. You're just going to have 3-man, because I was talking with you that I probably would end up killing off one of them and 3-manning, and I think you would do the same. We've got a black belt rainbow, which is fairly safe, although the white mage is... I think they weren't allowed to use bracelets in the Blur's classes, which makes them kind of hard to defend, all things considered, this time around. Blursing did not go in their favor. And then we've got kind of a split black bag there with Nightmare, the fighter black belt, white black, and that's an interesting party.
Yeah, and we're actually off, so We're gonna see the magic shops first. Let's see, white magic. We've got Cure 4 that's red learnable. Ruse isn't going to be learnable, but Cure 4 on your red mage, you're not going to be happy about that. Mm-hmm. And Temper at level 1 as well. I guess the one big thing, we've got Rub, but we do not have any kind of early sweep or anything like that, so it's kind of the first hurdle these ducks are going to have to get over is what are you doing when you don't have a sweeper at level 1?
Well, what we're looking at is we have... just double checking it, 0 loose items. So your whole job right now, it's a lot like with Chaos Rush or Chaos Rampage. You're going to be going, you're going to hit your key item locations, talk to your key item NPCs, try and get them out of the way so that you can then go get some money, get some gear, get your key items together, and hit the dungeons and just clear the dungeons as fast as you can. Free Enterprise being a lot like Chaos Rampage in that respect. 40-ish minutes, I think, is a decent estimate if you know what you're doing in this game. Could go longer if the bosses are bad. Could be fairly short if everything is just a cakewalk. So Iron Armor was there as well at the shop. I like this move here that Nightmare and Kaldaka are doing of hitting up Garland with that rub you have. You can just rub Garland and then, get the key item from Sarah and the King and start moving your path, I guess kind of, clockwise around Circle C?
Yeah, kind of, and actually... Nightmare Phoenix didn't actually pick up Rub, only picked up Temper, so it was actually using Temper strats. to take down Garland.
That is interesting. Okay, so we are talking about new players. I don't want to like try and say, oh well, they need to do this. They are still learning. So if there's anything that we feel we would have done differently, some of that can be chalked to experience. When you only have temper at the first level, I'm sure Link you would agree, grabbing an instant death spell that's there and available, like Rub, is key.
Yeah, Rub's not the greatest instant death spell. It's probably actually the worst instant death spell, but it's good enough to work against at least Garland, which is going to get you the levels to get your level 2 charges. And hey, look, we've got Lightning 3 and Zap.
Lightning 3, Zap,
we've got the...
and Fade. Fade is here
as well. On the White Mage.
Yeah.
White Mage. So
well,
those Red Mages...
Yeah.
So this would be where that idea of, hey, I have a Black Mage, I probably don't have a Black Mage anymore.
I think I would probably let him get a few levels just so he has a few shots of temper in the tank for when I go to the final dungeon, but I think past level 10, that Black Mage is kissing dirt. You know?
Yeah, I guess it would kind of depend. Like, if I was running, I kind of brought up the double red. If I was running, like, Black Belt, double red, Black Mage, that Black Mage is going top spot. He's getting damned off right away because 2 red mages are going to be able to do everything I need at this point.
Yeah. The only thing I think that would be interesting is for those players that have a white mage in their party, knowing that the black magic isn't that great, and so far you've only really seen temper that the red mage cares about. Like black belt red white or a fighter red white might be tolerable at this point. Black belt being the higher hit percentage that we covered before right now would be really nice.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm not sure, because I'm not sure if maybe I just missed them doing it, I'm not sure if the runners checked the blursing at all.
I didn't see it.
I don't believe all of them did. I don't know if any of them actually know what the blursing actually is right now.
Well, when they go back and watch this, if they didn't, that is certainly going to be something they can remember for the next race, because blurst classes are one of those features that are new to the randomizer, but I can guarantee you are here to stay. I would be absolutely shocked if some form of blurst classing wasn't in spring tournament this year. Silver armor +3, that's not bad. Good for your red mage if you have one.
Since I'm part of the group that's kind of deciding on the flag, I will refuse to answer that question.
You're fine. I am not involved in that. I would be surprised if we don't have it at some point during the tournament. It's just, they add... Oh, I think his airship is parked somewhere else. He's going to have to go get that back, Krellin. Blurst classes, for those that aren't aware, basically add bonuses and minuses, if you will, to the classes. So you can have, like, a bonus to hits, or maybe some magic, but also lose certain types of armor. It's interesting. I really like them. I really like the variety they add to the classes, and they change up the basic meta of the game in new and weird and interesting ways, and I really dig that.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you rethink, potentially your party comp, because if you see something like Black Mage gets all white spells, it's just like, Red Mages are really good because they get that, they can basically adapt to any situation, but the moment you give the Black Mage all the White Mage spells, it's just like, I basically have a better caster, and I just give up some of the survivability because they're not going to have as much health.
Yeah.
And things like that. So you really start to kind of consider, it's like, here's the party I think I'm going to use, and then you see the blurst, and you're like, never mind, this is probably the party I should be using at this point.
Yeah, it can kind of funnel you in certain ways, but it's interesting too because you'll be like, I'm not going to take a thief. Why would I take a thief with this party? And then you see what the thief has in comparison to maybe the fighter, and you're like, you know what? Maybe I take a thief this time. It can push you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of the interesting thing and the great thing about the blurst classes.
So just to go over some of the key items that we've had, the princess had the slab, the king had the TNT, BK, our lovely French pirate, had the herb. Herb then turned into the Elfland prince for the white shirt, and meanwhile when you took that TNT over to Dwarf Cave, you got yourself a tail. So, if you want it, class change is now on the table. You just have to go fly over and do that. For those who have a black belt, kind of be surprised if they class changed.
Yeah, I could see Krellin doing it pretty much immediately since there's no black belt and there's really no reason not to. Especially, you've got a white shirt, so you can equip that to give the white mage who can equip bracelets a very nice defense since it rolled up to +3, I believe, as well.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you'll lose about two-ish minutes flying over there and doing the walk-in to Bahamut and back. But if you're gonna do it, you want to do it before you hit level 15 with that fighter, so that any spells that you might want to buy for him, like Fade, he'll then have the charges for it.
The other big reason I kind of do it right away is it might take time, but if you have something like a red mage, which, you know, I believe everybody does have a red mage, you don't have to worry about double dipping a town to get those spell slots that the red mage can't get to initially.
True enough. Yeah, there's no downside if you're playing on class changing in free enterprise style flags to class changing this early, so long as you don't mind having to spend those 2 minutes or so flying over there. Which, it's early enough, it might give you an advantage if you find good gear, good spells, good something.
Yeah, the kind of the only downside we kind of brought up is if you have that black belt, we didn't say why, but a black belt gets 4 magic defense every level. However, when they switch over to the master, they only get 1 magic defense per level. So that adds up very quickly, considering you usually take your black belt, you know, minimum typically is 32, potentially 42. So, you know, if you're at level 5 when you do it, you're looking at, you know, almost 100 magic defense.
That magic defense is the key, and it's part of the reason why, yeah, you don't class change them normally, unless the flags that we have set up say that, you know, the magic defense is handled differently, and we do have flags for that in Final Fantasy Randomizer. They aren't always used, or really aren't used very often, but they're there. They are certainly there. That's one thing I really like about this randomizer, is that whenever anyone in the community suggests something, some flag they think is cool, or some whatever else, it almost eventually gets added, just because that's, you know, it's what our devs like to do. They like to give as much variety as possible. It's perhaps one of the most robust randomizers around at this point. Did notice Life 2 at the level 3 white magic, Heal 3, Cure 3 at level 4 white. I didn't actually get a chance to see it was at level 3 black, though.
I missed that. Well, we're about to see it right now. So let's see if anything important. Not really.
Lock at level 4.
Lock 2.
Yeah.
We've already seen Lock 2, so it's not critical. I mean, it's there.
It's just, I think it depends mostly on what mages you have and where you've already allotted your stuff. If you have a spare slot on 4 and you didn't take the Lock 2 because you needed those slots for other spells, I could see taking it now. Like, most of the time you're using Lock in the position of bosses. So, like, whether it's Lock or Lock 2, it has the same effect against a single target.
Yep.
Also harm 4, although we have Fade, so we don't need the 4-man's Fade at that point.
Yeah, and we've got the important, actually, well, not important. Oh, yeah, it is. We need it. We don't have short Topher. We got the important loot. Need that to get all the way through Topher when we get to that point.
Was that from Marshlocked?
That
or
no,
Marsh?
Just regular Marsh.
Yeah.
So Marsh is one of those, you know, hopefully you don't need to dive it, so maybe you skip it for a little bit and hoping you can save that time, but in this case, no, you're going into Marsh Cave.
I mean, you'll need it. I think it's one of those ones where if you skipped it for a while and then came back to it as one of the last ones you did because you didn't get the loot yet, then I mean, it worked out fine. This is one of those ones where if you had more levels, Marsh is faster. Doesn't look like they spend that much time getting down in there. It worked out pretty well. And actually, it's free enterprise, so I think encounters are off, so Marsh is not that bad one way or another for this particular flag set.
No, it really doesn't take that much to get down there. It's the other kind of like the nasty place that we try to avoid because it's so far out of the way and it can take you so long as Ordeals. But I would say Marsh is faster than Ordeals in this case for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, Krellin going over and doing what we predicted and doing his class change. And now, while you're here, when in Cardia, hit the Cardia Isles.
Yeah, if you're looking for gear, you might as well because there's a lot of chests here. 13 and no encounters, just even getting there, it's nice and quick.
I feel like it's a travel video at that point. When in beautiful Cardia Isles, make sure to loot the treasuries there. The dragons are very receptive.
Which is kind of weird, because normally dragons don't really like their treasures being taken.
Strange, isn't it? These are like the most atypical dragons I've seen yet.
Which, speaking of, oh my goodness, speaking of dragons and good equipment in Cardia, we have the Dragon Mail and the Aegis Shield in Cardia Islands. So that night on Krellin's side, and why not an Opal helmet?
Why not an
on
Opal?
top
I
of
was
that?
just gonna say, yeah.
So let's just give the fighter or the knight basically his best equipment in the game,
Now,
right here.
At that point, you find a ribbon. You put it on one of your other guys because you get a pro ring for that knight. And he's basically got a ribbon already from all the bonuses of the dragon and the Aegis at that point. Like, just throw it somewhere else where it's needed and don't stress so much. And then maybe if you find wall down the road, cast wall on that. It's fine.
Yeah, the big resistances that you're missing, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, right now are death, earth, and time.
Mm-hmm.
So, instant death spells, which is easily fixable by a pro ring, which has to be in one of the armor shops.
Mm-hmm.
Earth, wall works, rub works as well. Time, unfortunately, we only have to worry about zap when it comes to time, but yeah, only wall or ribbon is going to protect from that.
These worms have the bad touch. That is some stun touch that just wiped out that black belt. Could be. Oh, they are just destroying that party as we speak. Nightmare Phoenix down to 2 party members so far. That hurts.
Yeah, and that's you don't have your life caster either, so you're gonna be able to get out of here hopefully. Bring your loot, and probably still have to check the incentive because we don't have warp yet. I saw it was level 5, and that black mage doesn't have any level 5 charges, so still have to check the incentive chest.
I mean, if you do wipe here, it's not going to be at the end of the world to have to walk back down, not to go and hit that one chest again. But, yeah, wow, that was one of the few encounters you have to take in this dungeon if you want to check everything, and they made him pay for it. Healing up, gonna try again. Oh, yes, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm not even sure if he's, if Nightmare Phoenix is worried about checking everything. Might even just be concerned, I want to find my grind tile at this point so I can start getting my levels. Because, like Gurpees, kind of depends how they roll.
Yeah.
Sadly, we've got basically no spells, so we're losing, and hey, there's a crown.
I mean, if the white mage was alive, could have tried fading it, but Gurpees can tend to roll fairly high HP wise. I don't think a single fade would have taken them out. But you got the crown. You can go do your Astos turn and just ignore this place after this.
Yeah, and we'll see how much health they have, but they're dying to 2 fades. Kaldaka's got a decent grind there, but I guess, okay, it's kind of a pain to get to, however. It's Iron Goals, though.
Oof. That's worth the amount of time you have to spend there. Only downside... Oh, he's poisoned. He's not actually that weak. That's fine. Yeah, they're a pretty nice grind, all things considered.
Yeah, I think they only rolled like 200, that fade hit hard, but I believe they only rolled around 200-ish health, so fade... a good rolling fade can take them out. Granted, we don't have a lot of spell charges, but might be an idea to come back because you come back with like the red mage and the black belt, just do kind of a little bit of a 2-man grind, and you're off to the races at that point because they're already giving almost 10,000 experience for the full party, so it's going to be 20,000 for 2 members. Yeah, you're getting your levels quick.
Yeah, I would go and I would continue, that check is there. I would continue doing my various key item checks, get the rest of them out of the way, so that when I come back here, if I'm going to do my grind there, it's worth the time I have to spend walking down. Other benefit of that one, though, of course, is the fact, as with any grind tile you find here, since it's free Enterprise tile flags, there are no encounters except for spike tiles and bosses. So, yeah, it's not like you have to worry about running out after you get the battle stuff.
Yeah, and that's usually the worst part about Ice Cave, is why you don't take them. Especially, maybe if you do like a 2-man and you have exit or something like that, if you have a safe one, okay. But usually if you don't have like a warp or an exit to get you out of the dungeon safely, Ice Cave can be a very, very dangerous dungeon. And that's kind of the worst feeling in the world. You take, 5-6 minutes to do a grind just to lose it, and you immediately feel behind. And we've got 39 people racing? Yeah. 39 ducklings racing, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. You lose that grind, it's going to feel bad. And we did find I believe that's the first runner from the looks of it, our Crystal.
Nice.
And yeah, we saw another, really good grind tile for kind of 2-man is that fighter mage.
That's that. I've been watching that right now. The fighter mage is dying to a lightning 3 and a fade, so they're going down in the single round. Not putting up much resistance at all, and even with 4 people up and how few key items they have, it's at about a 5k grind there. It looks like they're racking up levels without having to walk very far at all.
Yeah, which Krellin running kind of the 4-man party with the knight isn't so much worried about doing that like 1-man grinding to get the black belt up to, I'm just going to 1-punch everything.
Yeah.
It does really want the levels kind of spread out on his entire team. And, that might be the thing, because we're really only kind of missing, if I'm not mistaken, we're really only missing a weapon now.
Just a weapon.
I believe he's swinging ice -1, so that's not something you really want to bring into endgame. Thing to note, Masamune, Excalibur, neither one of them are incentivized.
Nope.
The kind of the best weapon that's incentivized as far as damage is the defense sword, which isn't the greatest sword, but it'll do.
Yeah, it'll do just fine in a pinch, especially if because of the blurst weapons that we have, it rolls up. I mean, if it rolls up and it's like a defense +3, I'd take it. I'd be like, all right, I don't have to go searching anywhere else. It's a key item. I'm just gonna let it happen and just go with it. Krellin deciding his levels aren't good enough on his fighter yet. He's gonna let at least one of his party members take a dive, which is okay. I mean, he still has, like, for my instincts, it's only 18 minutes and he's got plenty of game to go. I think going anywhere above, I don't know, I think I probably would have stopped at 18 right now, but if he takes it much above 21, that's higher than I'd take a party like this.
Yeah, and I guess he is deciding on the Knight and the White Wizard? That's
White Wizard, Fade.
Yeah, well, I mean, Fade, your Red Wizard also has Fade. But Red Wizard also has, things like Temper. And spells, kind of critical spells like that. So that's kind of something I want to ask him is, why I understand you got Fade, but why the White Wizard over something like the Red Wizard?
I think this is the safety play. Again, not knowing what the wizards and the various blurstings were. I think this is the safety play just on the, you need a White Wizard if you're going to have to crawl through Topher, and they may be worried about having to fight all 4 bosses plus Chaos without a White Wizard that can hold their own. Nightmare, meanwhile, over here taking on a Chimera. That is the Gur worm trap tile right there. Finding the Mage Fighters again, because that spike tile right there is shared with the Fire Elementals.
Just saying, if that Chimera is by itself, and it doesn't have anything dangerous,
that's a good one, too.
That would be a good grind for a solo black belt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for a single guy, one-on-one, mono. Yeah, I would. That's a fantastic one right there.
I was gonna say, you get the black belt up to 21 to where it gets that extra hit, or the 6 hits, but that black belt with plus 20% hit, I'm pretty sure level 17 actually already has the 6 hits right now.
Yeah, they got the breakpoint. They just don't have quite the strength behind it, but, I mean, it's one Chimera. Test it once, see if you can punch it down to level 17. If you can, you just sit there for a little while. Because, yeah, the black belt, the bosses are scaled up to 250%. Like, a 32 black belt is probably good enough, but that's betting on the fact that the bosses are going to roll normally. Every once in a while you get a particularly nasty Kraken, you're sitting there going, well, gotta take this up to 42. Speaking of Kraken, we are about to see Kraken 1 here from Kaldaka over here in the bottom left. Got the black belt up front, doesn't seem to care. Just gonna go all out offense right here. Got a punch. 4 hits, 4 damage. That's an ineffective right there. Wow, that's 11 hits for a fried turkey right there. A fade, another fade. Kraken ate his Wheaties, only suffered about 300 damage so far. Switching to Invis strats. Cannot say I blame them.
Yeah, just so I know we kind of mentioned, I don't believe we really mentioned it. Bosses, if I'm not mistaken, let me go. I know they are clamped at 100%.
100 to 250, I believe, but you can double check that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna double check it. So boss stats are 100 to 200%. HP is 100 to 250%. So this Kraken could actually have 4,000 or 2,000 health.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
and
that's
you lost your.
That's three down. I have a feeling. Yep. Forgive the pun, but Kaldaka's goose is cooked. It was there. I had to.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. So something else to point out, as you'll noticing on Kaldaka's screen while we're talking about the ducklings and training them to do things and how best to handle scenarios, you'll note that he was riding on the river system right there. Now that for this particular flag set, that is fine. There are no encounters, nothing to worry about there. But it's a good habit to be in even when you're playing in a no encounter scenario. When you step on and off of a river tile, you don't get an encounter. Just some weird quirk about the way Final Fantasy does things. You want to minimize your encounters, so you step on and off river tiles as best as you can, doing sometimes weird staggered patterns to hit as many on-offs as you can get. When you're in a situation like this, you don't need to do that, but it's still advisable not to fail to keep the habit around, just in case. Also want to point out, got a ribbon for his waterfall troubles. Didn't see what the robot had, though.
The robot has our defense sword, which unfortunately rolled down to -1, so loses a little bit of its stats. But defense sword is still defense sword. Even if you're not going to equip it to swing it, it still has that on-cast ruse.
That 2 shots of invis to a single target, cannot complain about that. Yeah, what is going to be the question now is, how far do they dig for another sword?
I kind of feel like Kaldaka, Nightmare Phoenix, and Petron should be in, grind mode. Like, or just, checking. I don't believe we've seen a check on any of the Earth Cave spike tiles, which are 3 really easy to check and quick spike tiles, to find that grind for your black belt.
Yeah.
Once you have the grind, get yourself to, 32 or 42 if you want to take it that high, so that when you're diving these dungeons, which, Nightmare Phoenix was able to take down Carrie, and hey, there's another ribbon on the Fanish. But once you have those levels, you don't need to worry about going into a dungeon and getting to that boss, kind of like how Kraken just, smacked the black belts like, nope, you're coming back.
Yep. Well, and the thing to think about is, we know all the places that the key items are going to be, and we know all the people to talk to get key items from them. 20 of 20. We know everything that's going to be out there. We just don't know the exact locations. Earth Cave and Volcano are our 2 dungeons that have stuff in them. And then the only other one that we have to worry about is Marsh Cave, which we've already taken care of. We knew Ice Cave was fairly easy to deal with. Haven't seen anyone go to Ordeals, although it looks like Kaldaka is doing that right now. I don't mind the play of going and grabbing all your key items early, while you have, 10 levels under your belt or something. I think it's just, before you really start worrying about fighting Kraken, fighting Tiamat, fighting Carrie, go and get as many of those key items as you can and get your grind out of the way, especially if you're carrying around a black belt, because they're not going to be worth it to you until they have the experience under their black belt, if you will.
Yeah, I'm going to point this out because Krillin actually found a ribbon in Gurgu Volcano, so we actually know where all 3 ribbons are. Equipped it to his knight and moved his pro ring to his white wizard, which has the white shirt. So already has death protection. So,
well, one correction on that I want to make, Sir Linkalot. We know where 3 ribbons are. We don't know where all of them are because treasures are randomized.
Oh, are they randomized?
Yes, they are.
So that might not even be like a Masamune or anything like that.
No.
For Krillin.
The defense sword may be the best. Yeah, I think knowing that, if you have a fighter, you go to the greed-heavy locations. The couple of places like the Volcano Armory, that 6-pack in Ice Cave isn't a bad call. All of Ordeal's floors here with a black shirt +1, can't complain about that. Because you're gonna have to walk past these anyway to get the key item. These are the greediest of greed chests. And then, well, if you can get the Oxyale, maybe Mermaid Floor, although that is kind of out of the way and unincentivized. But stick to the greed chests, ignore everything else, and then just try and get your game going. And a good grind tile for getting your game going would be this gas key tile.
I mean, they are kind of doing gas dragon things and smacking kind of hard, but you know, yeah, 12,000 damage for your entire party.
Yep.
With encounters not on at all, I would be, you know, if I don't have my levels yet, I'd be blowing all my spells before leaving.
And they're dying in a single round of 2 fades and a lightning 3. Like, that's good. That's good. 8,000 experience just off of 2. That's going to be, doing math on Twitch, sorry guys, 12,000 off of 3, which we saw a 3-pack already. I would hang out here, but okay. I mean, level 22 is fine. Okay, good, warp back. No, wait. I liked this time. Let's go back.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that I don't like about the tile is the fact that it's kind of dangerous to take it with just your black belt. Because if you get 3 of them and they somehow get an ambush on you, especially with the level you are, that black belt is probably dead.
I agree
especially
with that.
if there's 4 of them. And it's one of those things like you don't really need that many levels on your mages with the black belt.
They died to a
enough for your critical
single ice
spells.
3. Did you see that? They died to a single ice 3.
I did see that.
So, yeah, it's... I think what I would do, like, if it's my case, I would probably roll until I stop getting a level automatically every fight, and then just call my grind done at that point, and assume I'm going to get whatever levels else I need off of whatever I pick up along the way from spike tiles and bosses. Like, he was already level 25 there. 1 or 2 more fights would have gotten him to 28, and then I think you call your grind there because you're going to be 32 by the time you get to Chaos.
Yep. And we did have Krillin light his fire orb, so that is the second orb between all of our runners.
Nice.
And it looks like, well, I guess we'll see. Petron is going, he's going to, I guess, at least check this and potentially try to kind of fight carry solo.
This is not a terrible party or pack if he can get away from it. They're not really hitting his black belt for much of anything, and he's got levels under his belt. So that's not terrible. Does have to walk back out from it and get an ambush by this pack. Kind of feels a little bad. Something else that feels bad, by the way, is level 7 fast, sitting there over at on-rack. Now, it's an interesting move, and I don't know how you feel about this. I tend to feel like, especially in these fast-style flag sets, Chaos Rush, Chaos Rampage, Final Fantasy, Free Enterprise, that anything past level 4 magic has to be really good for me to even bother going for it. Like, checking the shop, let alone actually actively using it, because it's a long walk to get to it, it's out of the way, and then you have to scroll to it in your menu as well.
Honestly, it kind of depends on the spell. Like, fast I would be checking for, but only if I can learn it, because I'm, like, all the level 7s, the only one I'm going to go back to visit, even with encounters turned off, is going to be Gaia. On rack, you have to walk back. Same thing with Lopane. Gaia, you can at least just land the airship, go to the black shop that's right next to the entrance, and then leave immediately. But yeah, fast would be one of those few spells that I'm still checking for, because I mean, it basically doubles your damage. So,
which is fair. And obviously, if you have the option that Wild Hand built into the randomizer recently that allows you to scroll upwards in your magic menu to get to some of your other spells, then level 7 is a little easier to scroll to, it's faster to scroll to. You just have to remember it's there. And it is, save the frames.
So we might be in for a long fight. Nightmare Phoenix on the side pulls Kraken. Kraken decided, hey, your most dangerous person is your black mage with that temper cast. I'm going to hit you for 900 damage and turn you into mush.
I don't think this is this is the first time I think Nightmare has been here against Kraken. But yeah, this Kraken is not playing around. We've already seen it like take out one party member, and well, luck is on his side for that. But still, this black belt's not cranking out much damage. I am not liking the odds here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what level the black belt is, but we're only getting like 2-3 hits. So, and yeah, there goes the black belt. We'll have to see what level when we see a start menu. But yeah, this is kind of one of those reasons when you're running a black belt party, especially we kind of brought up like Chaos Rush, Chaos Rampage, is that idea that once you find a grind, like the idea is you just kind of take it. It's not, okay, this is a good grind. I need to go find a better grind. It's like you find a grind that's good enough, you take it, you at least get your levels to where, you know, when you get to these fiends and things like that, you can take them out. And then it's like, okay, hey, I found, you know, the 3-eye grind. Let me go ahead and go from 32 to 42 quick.
Yep, that is something about these fast flag sets you have to do. Get your keyed items, find your spike tile, commit. It's a lesson in commitment above all else, because the longer you spend faffing around trying to figure out where you want to get your levels, the more time you're ceding to some other player that has already decided to actually just do a grind and get on with it.
Question in chat from Mugiwara Yanko. Is the party comp also randomized? No, the players did get to select their party comp, so there was no drafts. We have too many people running to even do a draft. There's no forced party members or anything like that. Everybody got to pick all 4 members of their party, whatever they wanted.
Yep. That's one of the traditional ways that we run this particular flag set, especially when we're doing it among the ducks. Just, you know, let the ducks have their chance to just do what they want to do.
Alright, well, we're going to get to see Kaldaka's poll. Let's see if this one goes a little bit better than everybody else's so far. It does get some turnover, at least gets 1 invis, and we get the fast off on that black belt as well. The red wizard, or the red mage, actually no. Is that promoted? Not sure.
Which one are we talking about?
Kaldaka. I don't.
It's promoted. You can see the cat ears on the white duck.
Okay. So that the red wizard did survive a punch, and we've got quite a few invis stacks off now. So I don't know if the red wizard's going to survive. The white wizard certainly does, though, and that black belt is evade cap. So now it just needs to kind of probably get some tempers off, maybe, and just get that damage up.
Oh, we lost signal for a second there. I'm going to see what's going on and if we can get them back.
While we're doing that, Krillin, you know, waiting for Ice Cave until we have warp, does get to do the warp trick to check the incentive box to get the crown that we know is there. We also lost Petron.
That was me. My OBS was fighting me for a second there. There we go.
Oh,
we'll
okay.
Put that on there until such time as we can get Kaldaka back.
Let's see what Nightmare Phoenix does with these gaps. It looks like it's going to take at least 1 fight. Well, has to. Can't run from them.
Okay, so don't know how that fight went. There may have been a bit of hard resetting there, and seeing that the Kraken fight wasn't going well. We'll check their menu as soon as we can and find out what happened with Kaldaka there. That is a lit orb. I just don't know. Is that the water one? The upper right?
That is the water orb. I'm
okay.
Pretty sure, because it doesn't have the rod or the cube, so it can't be Earth. And if you're going back to Volcano, unless you're coming back here for a grind, you're coming back here for the fire orb.
Very cool. Okay. Solves that then.
Which I was going to say, something terrible would have had to happen, because when we left, you know, when we lost Kaldaka, he had all of his light warriors, with the exception of the black belt. All light warriors had 4 stacks of invis. The black belt was full evade cap. So something like that, the Kraken would have had to roll something terrible to wipe the party at that point.
Very true.
Which Petron is making his way to Kraken, so we'll see maybe if he can be our second runner with the Water Orb lit, and maybe we'll see if he can be faster than Kaldaka, but maybe our first runner with 2 of the orbs lit.
And you can see just how fast this flag set is, because we are 30-ish minutes in right now, and we're already starting to knock these bosses down like dominoes. So we see Nightmare Phoenix here is enjoying the lovely trip to Ordeals to get himself some of these Gasties. Good use, I want to comment on that Quad X there. Knows that the Gasties only have about 300 or so health. One spell and a Quad X should take out anyone that actually managed to survive that first spell. I like that. That's smart right there.
Yeah, I mean, if the Black Mage can't really do anything else or is out of AoE spells, it's just like, it reduces your incoming damage. And the biggest thing about grinds, and usually what takes the most amount of time, is having to heal between your fights. So if you can reduce that incoming damage, you reduce the amount of time you have to heal between fights.
Now, again, I want to point out they are ducks. There are certain things that they are going to do because they are still learning. This is their new player tournament right here. One of those things that I don't know that I'd necessarily do here in a fast flag set like this is go and check the treasure chests on Mirage 2. That feels like a very out-of-the-way walk to get those treasures. Yes, you're going to have to walk on that floor to get to the exit, but the walk over there for out when you're not guaranteed to have anything, especially when you have such great armor already like he does on that fighter, that feels iffy to me.
I was going to say, like, if he had one ribbon, I could see checking it because of the one ribbon, but the fact that he's got, again, it's Duckling, so, we're looking at this from the veteran perspective.
Exactly.
So it very well could be Crone's, comfortable, I want all three ribbons. That, in this case, there might not even have been three ribbons. We know there are. But, yeah, it's that idea. We're looking at it from, this is what I'm comfortable with. It's like, if I have two ribbons, it's like, I don't need to just, as long as I need to, I guess he might still be looking for a weapon. Is the thing. I think he's still swinging the ice sword, which that's not really what you, and it's an ice -1. That's not what you really want to be going into Topher with.
I think in any flag set, not just the fast ones, but in any flag set, at a certain point, you have to decide what level of treasure you're comfortable with committing to. How quote unquote low of gear will you actually take when you're going to fight them? I know we have people like Spellzap that will go in with a Silver Dagger and temper it for all it's worth. He's insane. Don't play like Spellzap necessarily, even though he wins a lot of the time. But at the same time, you don't always need the Masamune, you don't always need the X-Cal. The defense -1, the ice -1 may at some point just have to be good enough.
I guess the big thing is kind of like, where is the power gauntlet as well? Like, in this case, it's incentivized, so that might be something where it's like, ice -1, no, it's not the greatest sword. I would rather have something better. The defense, if you have the defense -1 again, yeah, I could have better, but knowing the power bunk is available, and I know, I somewhat know where it is, at that point, it's kind of like the idea, like, I'll deal with the ice -1. Like, it's going to take some turns to get it up to where, like, the Masamune would be swinging or X-Cal would be swinging. Yeah. But I have the resources to do that. I just need to make sure I'm surviving the fights. Krellin on the Bridge of Destiny, we're not going to find a Warmech on a random encounter, but at the end of the Bridge of Destiny, before we can even get to Tiamat, we are sure going to find ourselves a Warmech.
That robot chicken will not be denied in today's flag set, so don't need to put up your blesses to pray for our robot chicken overlord. He will show up indeed.
And he starts with Bane. That Red Wizard is gone. Knowing that, what our HP is, this Warmech is going to have at minimum, we're looking at 1,000 health, anywhere up to 2,500. So, we've seen Bane, we've seen Swirl, so he's got a spell and skill list.
Having the Warmech be forced is kind of nice in some respects, because at the very least, you're going to get information. It is nice to know what you're going to have to face, and more importantly, what you won't have to face when you're in the Temple of Fiends Revisited, because Warmech shares his skills and spells pool with all the fiends in there, including Chaos.
Yep, that is definitely important to note. And yeah, that Knight down on one knee, thankfully Fire 3, that Dragon Mail kind of saves the Knight.
You can never sleep on the robot chicken, because it's like Kraken in some respects. It will come out blazing when you least expect it, oftentimes with blaze.
But robot chicken is down,
and that's level 32 right there for his fighter at that point. I think his fighter's good.
I would say the fighter is good, yes. Next is going to be Tiamat. I have a feeling, I mean, who knows? Maybe Tiamat has something nasty. I want to say Krillin might have a Bane sword, maybe? I know I've seen Bane swords somewhere, so not necessarily, potentially to get the nice kill, because when you're doing 4 for 4, yeah, we're going to need some tempers.
Tell you, if it rolled up on the Blursing, I might actually swing that Bane sword at that point.
Yeah, and while Krellin was fighting the war mech, there was a lich on Kaldaka's side.
High lich.
What was being the key word? There is no longer a lich, and that's Kaldaka's third orb.
There's a puff of old dust, and the lich is gone. So we did have a question in chat about whether or not the party comp is randomized. So party comp was open for everyone to choose as they saw fit. One thing we do have on, though, is what we call blessed classes, blessed and cursed classes. That's the blurs right there. That can apply bonuses and bad modifiers, malices, minuses, whatever you want to call them, to the parties. I don't know that any of, as we were discussing earlier, that any of the players that were playing actually checked to see what the bonus and malices are, but they are there, and they do help to change the potential of the party comp as well. And we got more gas news here as Petron also finds that tile and may or may not stick around. Decides not to, moves on.
Yeah, and kind of we've got the Tiamat fight on Krellin's side, but Kaldaka, if you look at his key items, he is in go mode as far as his items. He just needs to go kill Robot Chicken, kill Tiamat, and he can go into Topher.
Very nice indeed. So see, go mode at the 43-minute mark. Potential to be in Topher at the 50-minute mark. That is how fast a flag set like this can be.
Alright, and down goes Tiamat for Krellin, so there's Krellin's second orb lit. Nightmare Phoenix is going to take his second stab at Kraken.
Some pun intended there.
A little bit. I mean, I don't know how much stabbing is going to be done. I mean, we do have a knight, but I'm pretty sure that black belt is going to be where it's coming from.
It's a fair point. The rapier is one of the early ones. That would technically be the stabbing weapon, or maybe a knife. We're really down to slashing weapons now.
I mean, they have a point. They can still stab.
The nice parry and thrust.
Alright, so Warmech on Kaldaka's side. We really didn't see anything bad from Warmech. I think Bane was very good. We did have Swirl as well, but Bane, Swirl were kind of the worst things we saw during that fight, so it's kind of bad news at the same time, because, I mean, you're not going to see those in Topher, but you didn't really see anything terrible.
You're going to see a whole lot else, yeah. Yeah, that's worrying. If I was in their shoes, I'd be like, okay. Thanks, Warmech.
Especially seeing ink on Warmech. That's definitely not something you want to see on Warmech. You want to see that on, like, Kraken or Chaos or Tiamat, where it can be like, hey, here, I'm going to give you a free round, because next round I'm going to nuke you. So you better heal.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to see those kinds of skills and like the lightning 2s and other things. The things that are just piddly damage. Oh, okay, I have to admit, watching the ducks actually cheer and flap their wings, that was adorable.
It is. We've got a lot of sprite creators, and they do a really good job with the custom sprites we get. All right, Kaldaka kind of taking a quick inventory, or maybe making some decisions on how he wants to approach the Tiamat fight. And we're going to start with the paunch. 4 for 94. And wall that black belt up, just in case there's some nasty spells. We'll get the fast on the black belt.
From From what we saw, Tiamat is not nearly as scary as Kraken was here. To be expected, Kraken is probably one of the good early gatekeepers of this game.
It can be interesting depending on how, like, the boss stats are scaled as well. Kraken can go from being like, Kraken's usually either one of those, I'm either going to completely destroy your party, or I'm just going to come and give you a hug with 8 tentacles at that point, and you're just going to be like, oh, that felt nice.
I am loved. Thank you, Kraken.
Now, the hits from those black belts, I don't know how kindly Kraken is going to take to that. But, Nightmare Phoenix, been here before, saw what Kraken can do, is definitely, being a lot more wary of what Kraken can do, because doesn't want to lose the black belt, because it's already done, 1,200 damage. So Kraken probably not long for this world. If we see another swing like we have been seeing, probably down this round. Or, Fade can kill him.
Or
black belt does all the work. The white wizard, takes credit for it. And that is Nightmare Phoenix's second orb. And we've got Kaldaka going to be starting Topher Dive.
So this is interesting. What you're going to notice is, as they're coming in here, they will need the loot, because they're going to have to break that loot slab. They will also, of course, need the key, because there's a key-locked door in here. And Kaldaka is not going the right way. There's no encounters. It's the perfect time to make that mistake, because there's no encounters here to punish you for it. But yeah, you're going to need the loot, you're going to need the key. But the thing you're going to notice is, aside from this phantom tile here, the only encounters we are going to find in the entirety of this long Topher are the 4 fiends plus chaos. So, I mean, if you take a misstep here or there, not the end of the world, just a couple seconds time lost. Don't have to worry about the monsters coming out and making you pay for it.
Yeah. And I know what Kaldaka was doing. It's like, I know we have the nice little victory lap on Chaos's floor. We're just doing the victory, the bigger victory lap.
Yeah, just pre-celebration. So we're getting our first chance to look at Lich 2 and see just what it is that Lich is going to come out with. Now, generally speaking, Lich 2 is not much of a concern. Lich 2 is one of the weakest fiends in the pool, only after the original Lich himself. And he can start with, like, Nuke or something right off the bat, but when you have that low of HP, you can only roll up so high, and when you have a black belt punching against that, you don't really stress too much.
There's a reason why we say people disrespect Lich. Unfortunately, there's only the one encounter, but it's why most people, or a lot of runners, they get to Lich 2, they don't even heal. They're just like, hi, Lich, I'm about to destroy you. I don't care what my Light Warrior's health is at. And then Lich is gone.
I did see one Lich that was a gatekeeper. Like, it was flags where the boss scaling was up super high, and he was like first and second turn nuke, and that actually stopped a lot of people cold in their tracks, because how do you recover from that? People were able to get through it, but that was an early shot that made you waste resources that you probably didn't want to waste.
Speaking of a gatekeeper, Carrie's absorb roll. Okay, there we go. Carrie, thankfully actually rolled low on the health, because I believe only took around 700 to 800 damage before it went down, but was hitting like a truck for a carry. Like a carry that's hitting for 500 plus on a black belt. That is a scary carry.
Very scary carry. Knight of the scary carry, if you will. So Kaldaka is making good work through this dungeon. Already passed 2 of the bosses, on here to Kraken, and this is going to be our first real test right here. See what happens to those ducks up front, or if Kraken decides to go for the back row and take out that black belt. Although, already getting the defense sword and a fast and an invis, I think the black belt might be able to survive a single hit. Not that it matters.
It all depends what how Kraken rolled. Seeing 6 for 592 hour on a single invis, the black belt probably would have died. I was like, you're probably getting some more invises. You're gonna get the black belt all the way up.
Yeah, black belt is more than high enough at this point. It's probably time to go on the offensive, and they do. Quad X is a free turn with the protection of the ribbons and the fact that both of them are up over 300 health. Gonna continue using some fates. And a punch. High absorb on this Kraken. 12 hits for only 200 damage there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know the White Wizard's only slightly protected. I remember we saw Ruse. It was a non-red mage learnable. You know, thankfully we got Kraken down because that was kind of scary. If Kraken punched that White Wizard again, very possible you lose your life caster. And granted, you know, if you're gonna man mode or duck mode, in Keldaka's case, if you're gonna duck mode Topher, a black belt is certainly one of the best ones to do it with. The only real, probably better one would be a knight with like Power Bonk, Cure 4, Defense Sword, which pretty much have.
Yeah. A couple things that I would comment there. Probably would have used that Cure 4 in battle just in case, as you said, Kraken came out. Because Kraken did attack that White Wizard. They just attacked it with the spell, which was thankfully safe. The other thing was the black belt at the end was only short 30 health. And they used the Cure 4 to heal them up after the battle was over. I probably would have used a Cure 3 or a Heal Upon or something else there, because that Cure 4 is prime for in battle, and you really don't want to waste it.
Yeah, we've still got Tiamat, and we've still got Chaos, and Chaos can roll. Chaos can roll up to 5,000 health. I mean, we've got a black belt, and once you start getting those fast and tempers, it's going to go quick, but you have to get those fast and tempers. And here comes Zap. Thankfully, nobody getting sent to the 4th dimension.
Now, they're getting a lot better damage here from this black belt against Tiamat, already cranking out 700 damage on like 11 hits. I don't think Tiamat is going to last long by comparison. That Kraken was just a brick wall.
Yeah, high absorb, high strength. This Tiamat definitely is kind of the opposite. You know, I don't think we've seen a swing from Tiamat yet, but yeah, definitely the absorb, not even close to his high.
Oh, 15 extra damage. That Tiamat is wiped.
Yeah, bye-bye. Alright, so we're going to have Warmech on Nightmare Phoenix's side. Nightmare Phoenix is going for 4th Orb. Petron also, you know, well, Keldaka's been doing the Topher dive. Actually, I believe Petron's in Topher looking at it. That's carry 2 we're looking at.
That does look like a carry 2 right there, indeed. Yeah, and, I mean, if you look, I know Petron had some decent levels on his guys. His black belt already down to 272. That carry does, in fact, hit hard.
Yep, and Keldaka's pulling Chaos, so we'll see how this goes. We've got a wall coming out, Invis 2 from the Red Wizard.
Now, I like the boldness of taking the Force Stun on Petron's side, but this right here is one of those cases where it feels a little dicey, just because this Kraken is nasty enough that you kind of want that meat shield up front of the 4th slot to just take a hit.
Yeah, definitely. Keldaka's still kind of just playing defensively, which, you know, when you're at Chaos, you don't want to take a wipe. I mean, granted, there's no random encounters, but this is still the most costly wipe typically you're going to have, is against Chaos.
Yeah, this is even more costly than a wipe to, like, Kraken 1 in this flag set, just because of, while that dungeon there, that Sea Shrine is long, this one you'd have to fight the bosses all over as well. It takes more time.
Yeah, and I really like what Keldaka did there. Use Cure 4 from both the Red Wizard and the White Wizard on the Black Belt, seeing him down to 180 health, just to be, you know,
absolutely sure.
You know, mitigate that turn order chance of the Black Belt getting crushed. Because if the Black Belt dies at this point, I don't believe the Red Wizard has a weapon that you could swing, because you have plenty of tempers. We kind of went over it before. You could technically try to get away with just tempering whatever weapon you have and start swinging for the fences.
You gotta have one.
Typically work.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to have a weapon for that to work.
It's already starting to crank out good damage. That previous punch was like 700 damage right there. We're going to see another one come out soon. He's managing to keep his party up. Very healthy. Very, very well put together right here. Another 7 hits for 722. Chaos could have, what, upwards of 5,000 health?
Yep, 2,000 to 5,000 health. So.
Wow, and Petron smoked through. He's already up to Chaos as well.
Yeah, Petron, I believe, took that black belt. Looking at the health, that black belt has to be at 42.
42.
So
Yeah, so it
yeah, or whenever if you're paying attention and saw the 20% extra hit, saw 10 hits and just kind of stopped there.
Mhm.
But Kaldaka does take down Chaos.
Very nice. That is going to put them at an official racetime.gg time of 57 minutes and 4 seconds. That will actually, although the first on-screen runner for us here, because we had a pack of 40 ducklings racing today across 3 different channels, Speed Gaming, Randomania, and of course here on RPG Limit Break, he was actually the 25th duck to cross the finish line. And Petron right behind them. Actually, looks like the streams may be a little desynced right there. Petron came in right beforehand as far as race time was concerned. 56 minutes, 28 seconds. That might be one where, because of what we saw on screen, may want to take that to the retime and let our official Duckling Dawn, Greg Lee, track that one to make sure that those are correct.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's just. I'm sure it's probably just something like there was a desync on the restream side, but we'll definitely want to.
Well, we did have that cutout there for a little while. If you remember on Kaldaka's side.
That is true.
So that
would have refreshed them.
Yeah, that could have screwed up a portion of their stream buffer, just enough. So.
That's true.
I'll let the Duckling Dawn handle that, but I'm going to assume that score probably stands the way it is. So, 24th and 25th place right there on stream for you. Still waiting for Krellin and Phoenix to cross the finish line. And I should say Nightmare Phoenix, because we do actually have a second Phoenix, Phoenix 29, in the race as well. So GG's to both of our ducklings. I'm going to see if we can get them in for an interview. So, exciting right now. Krellin is now making their way into the Temple of Fiends as well. So here's a question for you. I know... Okay, you're a better player than I am, Link. But let's say that you've seen however many players finish ahead of you. How does that color your trip into the Temple of Fiends if you're just starting off now?
I guess I'm not really too concerned about it, like, during the race. Like, I'll see it and be like, okay, I'm obviously I'm going to start thinking potentially maybe, like, what mistakes I made, like, or if it was something like I lost my grind, be like, okay, well, take 5 minutes off my time or however long I lost, where am I sitting at that point? I'm usually not worrying about it too much, but I'll go back and kind of, like, review the top finishers, comparing to mine, like, what did I do differently? Did I just, make a bad routing choice? Did I just get, RNG does happen to the best of us. Did I just get RNG on, Topher? Maybe I had a bad Topher wipe because, even though it's just the bosses, some of these bosses are taking some time. So it can be a 5-10 minute loss.
Yeah.
Because especially when we see things like, hey, that black belt that's got so many hits, when Tiamat has slow 2, you still hit for 167 with 1 hit, but that's not as good as, 6, 7, 8, 10 hits.
Yeah.
For lots more.
Yeah, and I really do feel like a 32 black belt was probably the way to go for this. Like, the safety of the fighter is nice, and there was great gear waiting for you at Cardia Isles, but you don't need the gear if you just take a black belt to 32, and there were plenty of decent tiles this time around for that.
I guess the thing with the knight is, and the worst part about the knight is we found all of that gear in the Cardia Isles.
No sword.
What we didn't find was a weapon.
Yeah.
And the armor is amazing, and we actually saw a reset out from Nightmare Phoenix. But armor is amazing to get early like that, especially when you can equip it. But what you really want is the weapon, because that's where your damage is coming from. You can technically hide the fact that you have poor armor by using evade, wall, things like that. You can't really. I mean, you have temper, but temper takes a lot longer to get through.
Who he wants punch, or to...
Sorry, I dropped out there for a second. I am back. And I see that we are joined here in chat by Kaldaka and Tetra now. Hopefully they'll be, I think they're muted right now, but hopefully we'll get them here in just a second. GT to both of you guys, how did you feel about your runs?
Thank you. I totally fell on my face in the opener.
I don't know if I feel that bad. Tell us about it. What do you think you did that maybe you should have done differently, or?
I went to fight the pirates with no level 3 spell charges. So,
yeah.
That was great. That was just, I went in with a plan and completely forgot that I needed to be like at least level 3 to actually cast that magic. So I'm like, great, I've got lightning 3, I've got fade, these pirates are going down. And then I get there and it's like, nope, you can't cast that yet.
Yeah, that does happen sometimes. Kaldaka, tell us about your run. How'd you feel about that?
I thought it went well. I mean, personal best, so I'm happy about that.
Nice.
I had some routing issues. I get mixed up in the air sometimes, and I overshoot things. But you know, other than that, I took chaos too slowly. I think with too many tempers and not enough nuking, and you know, just attacking with the other guys. But overall, it could have been a lot worse.
And I'll let you know a little secret. I've been playing this game for 2 years now, and I still get turned around sometimes in the air. It happens. Link, you got any questions for our 24th and 20th place finishers?
Yeah, so the interesting thing, I don't know if either one of it looks like, I'm not sure if either one of you have brought up the kind of the restream, but walk us through party select, because we actually saw 4 unique parties from all 4 of you on the restream.
Yeah, well...
Would you like to go first, Tetra? Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so, well, the other day I was doing a practice run and I really wanted to try a 3-person party. And I just was like, okay, it's a black belt seed. I need some access to white magic, and I definitely need black magic to get the early game going. So let's try a black belt, red mage, black mage party. And it's way easier to get that early leveling going, so not spending quite as much time grinding, because it's tough because you got to get the black belt up to level, early 20s before the black belt can sort of go off on its own and actually grind all the way up to where it needs to be. So I'd had a lot of luck in the practice round, so I tried that, and things will work out for me.
It was a flex party. I like the boldness of it. Kaldaka, what about your party? Tell us about that.
Well, I usually go fighter rainbow for just safety. It's the easiest thing and safest thing to do. However, fighter with black mage vitality is not something I'm interested in. And I didn't feel like searching chests left and right to find gear to negate that malice. So I went with a black belt just for the strength. I wasn't that interested in his magic defense, but I wanted to get as much as I can, which is why I promoted so late. Other than that, I just went as if he was a fighter. I had no interest in soloing it for grind spots with him, because I've done that in the past and I've had bad luck doing that.
Okay.
I get too greedy sometimes. So that's why I just substituted one for the other.
Well, it worked out in your favor this time around, at least. Okay, so we do have Krellin here against Chaos right now, getting their buffs up. We got the fighter up front, going out with some defenses, going out with some locks, casting those spells to get everything set up. Getting queued up. We got another round. Fighter dishing out 5 hits for 273. That right there is one of those keys about how the black belt carries their damage in this late game. Because that fighter is, I think, what, 20 mid-20s, late 20s, and, I mean, they're only doing 20-ish damage because there just wasn't, or 200-ish damage because there just wasn't a good sword this time around. 5 hits, 256. You'll get them taken care of eventually, but It's going to take some time, and hopefully they survive through this chaos.
Yeah, incoming Cure 4, so that'll take care of it.
Hopefully that's not the same for Chaos. Hopefully he doesn't have an incoming Cure 4.
That would be catastrophic right now, because
really
we are kind of... we're out of tempers. We really only have the Cure 4s left on the White Wizard. You know, we're doing kind of chip damage with any elemental spells we have, doing blocks. But yeah, it's like, here comes Bane. There goes the Red Wizard.
I mean, if you're already out of tempers at this point, having the Red Wizard drop to a knee, I'm okay with that now. Get them out of the way so they're not wasting your time while you're trying to, like, click through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, we kind of prefaced it because I'm pretty sure seeing the weapon that Krellin is actually swinging, that is a silver dagger.
God.
So this is kind of that idea that with enough tempers, you can kill Chaos. It doesn't matter which weapon you have. It will do. You just have to temper it.
Yeah, and, I mean, 250 damage off of a silver dagger. That's impressive for a silver dagger. It's going to take a little time, but Chaos doesn't seem to be really hitting the fighter all that much. I mean, amount of damage he's cranked out right now, he's probably looking at 3 or 4 more hits if I had to guess. But it's bold, I like it. Meanwhile, Nightmare Phoenix also up against Chaos now, also doing their rounds of buffing. Gonna have a Black Belt punching out. 5 hits for 194. Black Belt can do better. Come on. Dueling Chaos fights here at the end. This is quite exciting. 5 hits, 513. Another white shirt just to keep everyone alive. Meanwhile, more Invises and Tempers over on Nightmare Phoenix's side. Getting 19 hits right there. I didn't see how much damage that was, but, you know, 19 hits is 19 hits.
Yeah, and well, down goes Chaos on Krellin's side, though. Krellin is going to finish in 33rd place with an official time of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 10 seconds.
Another punch. Some more Tempers. This Chaos has got to be feeling the ropes at this point. 10 hits, 939. This Chaos rolled high on health, though. That is for sure.
Yeah, he's taking a licking, but he's still ticking. But hopefully not for too many more rounds.
He ate his beefcake powder. Go. Heal 3 comes out just to keep everyone alive. Just a little topped up right there, just in case. 17 hits for, like, what was that, 2,000 damage? Woof! That'll do the trick.
Yep. 2294 when you're hitting Chaos for half of his health, or potential health, and you've already done what you've done. Yeah, he's probably...
That's a mean right cross.
But everybody get your GGs in chat for Nightmare Phoenix. He is going to finish with an official time of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 54 seconds in 34th place.
GG's to our runners. Going to see if we can get the last 2 in here for a little bit of an interview as well. There they are. Nightmare Phoenix, Krellin, GG's to both of you. Tell us about your runs.
I reset after cracking 1.
It happens. It was a bold move going in there as early as you did.
Yeah, I felt pretty confident the first time I went in there, and then he laid the smackdown, and I went, I need to go pump some iron, and I'll be back.
Yeah. That Chaos felt pretty confident too, or the Kraken felt pretty confident too from the looks of it. Yeah,
he was ready for me.
Krellin, what about you? Not hearing you on mic. If you're there, we're not hearing you. Well, Nightmare, you took a fairly, I think for what we saw from the party comps, a fairly interesting party. Black Belt, Fighter, and then a couple mages. What was your thinking there?
My thought was, originally I was going to take just Black Belt and mages, and then I changed my mind and decided, and that was it, just Black Belt and White Mage, Black Mage. But then I realized, I probably want just a bullet sponge in there. So I grabbed the Knight. Worst case scenario, I'd have someone to just take hits and sit there. Best case scenario, I have another melee dealer in case something absolutely horrible happened. And it kind of worked out, except when right after you beat Kraken 1 and then you wipe on, you start wiping everything else out of memory, and you wipe you wipe on Kraken 2 and Tiamat too, so it was rough. But I think that the party comp I took was mostly just for safety.
I can understand that. Link, you got questions for our runners?
I guess, again, we might have missed this, but did any of you check the blursing on your classes before picking your team?
Didn't even check it.
That's kind of why I took the. Go ahead.
I looked at it, but I was already had my party comp pretty much decided. But I feel like the black belt had like an extra buff that made the black belt like even more insane than usual. It's like a hit percent, like plus 10 hit percent or something, plus 15 hit percent.
It was plus 20% hit, so yeah, I got those extra hits a lot earlier than he normally would have.
It was crazy.
I was completely looking at the wrong seed at the beginning. I had run some earlier ones this morning, and I had loaded the right seed when it got rolled, and then I pulled up and was looking at the wrong stuff at the beginning. I'm like, oh, okay. So like Volcano, oh, that's not. Oh, wait a second. No. Volcano is incentivized. Holy crap. And I was looking at the wrong one.
Yeah.
And I got it wrong. I was like, I should have had a black belt. And I was looking at the completely wrong thing at the beginning. I screwed myself over from the beginning. I was like, please give me a weapon. Please give me a weapon. And I got nothing. I couldn't find a single weapon. Ended up going with the cat claw.
Cat claw could be good.
Okay, that was the cat claw. I thought it was a silver. It's like, it looks, I know cat claws and silver daggers look really similar, so I called it silver dagger.
Yeah, I was really frustrated the entire time. I was like, I probably could have gone 15, 20 minutes faster if I had gone the black belt, and I made some poor routing decisions. I was really, really, really nervous. First tournament, first time on stream, and I was like, okay, go. And I goofed at the beginning. I pulled back, I think, well, and I finished strong, and I had a super strong tank, which was great.
I guess the question I have, since, it was the kind of the mistake bringing the knight just because we looked at, you looked at the wrong flags. How did you feel after doing promotion, checking Cardia Islands, and getting the armor that you did then?
Oh, that was beautiful. I was like, okay, I'm good with the fighter. Pull the dragon armor and the Aegis shield. I'm like, okay, that's not so bad. And pulling the 24,000 right out of the Matoya's cave at the beginning, I was like, but I was routing poorly. I was like, I had this entire thing all in my head of where I was going to go, and then I saw the airship at the beginning and realized I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah. But for considering that, you recovered well.
I did. The big mistake I made was, like I said, completely forgetting to just read the seed, calm down. I was stretching beforehand, walked around. Yeah, I think I covered well without having a black belt, but I know I can do much better. And sweet. It's well done to everybody, and thank you everyone for this restream. I really appreciate it. Everyone was awesome.
You're quite welcome.
Yeah, that's kind of the nice thing about the Duck Derby, and it's not just a one-on-one race where, if you lose, you're out of a tournament or something like that, and you get to kind of sit there and think about what happened and what you could have changed. It's like, hey, now there's next week to come back and, put up a good time at that point.
First time jitters. Got the first one out of the way. Next two will be awesome.
It happens. There is still plenty of time to recover. I like to remind people that last year, although Sir Lincolot did go on to win, second place, I believe, in that tournament was Jat, and Jat missed the first day completely due to just personal life snafu. So, you can do poorly or even just decently in the first day and still have plenty of time to recover because of the large spread of points that we have. So don't think whatever score you got today, don't feel like this is going to be a bad day for you or that you're already out of the tournament. There's still plenty of Duck Derby to go, and with 40 people playing, it's, you could end up anywhere on that spread.
Indeed. Thank you, everyone. That was fantastic. I just got to take a little bit more time and make sure I'm looking at the right one.
That's helpful. Well, I
It's
think
not the first time it's happened to somebody.
no. I've done it before. Don't hold it against yourself. We've all been there. I think we're probably good at this point to start doing final thoughts. We do have a couple more runners behind the scenes that are still going. I'm not even certain if they're on Restream at this point. We will see about that. But before we kick over to whatever they're doing right now, I do want to see if we can get some final thoughts from everyone. So, going in, let's just do alphabetical order here. And Kaldaka, if you're still here with us, any final thoughts on your race today?
Yeah, it was my first restream, my first live race. I was all sweaty palmed. I was beside myself for like the last day, but my advice is something I heard from Trenton GL, which was don't race the same day. You're gonna psych yourself out. You're gonna confuse yourself. I did it the day before. I did well yesterday.
Yep.
I feel like I did well today.
Very nicely done. Krellin, if you're there with us, final thoughts.
Just want to thank everyone. Thank RPG Limit Break. This is fantastic. I really appreciate it. Hi, Mom, if you're actually watching, I appreciate it. I'm going to go back and rerun this properly and see what I can do. And I'm going to make sure to be ready for next week. It'll be fantastic. I spent the first 2 hours from like 4 o'clock to 5:30 just trying to get ready. And the first time jitters, it'll be great. Everyone did awesome. Everyone it's like I saw like 33 people up in the chat, more than that, and everybody here put up a great time. Everyone did awesome. It's so great to be in such a great community.
Nightmare Phoenix, final thoughts from you.
Yeah, this was great. I had a lot of fun. I almost got a PB on this seed out of all my practice up until that fateful moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy with all the other decisions I made, and I think that next week will be even better.
Awesome. Tetron, if you're still with us, any final thoughts from you?
Well, good game, everyone. The Final Fantasy, the randomizer community is amazing. I'm just so impressed at how like all these organized events. It's the first restream that I've done, and it's amazing. And I actually had a plan. I practiced this flag set to death, and I had a plan, and once I kind of got my feet under me and executed it, I think it worked out. So it was so much fun. Thank you so much for putting this together.
Link, you got any final thoughts over there for us?
No, I mean it was a good race from all four of the people restreamed, and if we have the runners that weren't restreamed or restreamed on one of the other channels, definitely GG's to everybody. It's been a blast going through. Like I said, I made a nice big post in the Discord about how it's been amazing just to kind of sit here. Last time I was the Duckling going through this racing, going through the boot camp and everything like that, but it's just as fun, if not more fun, over the past 8 weeks, and then all of it culminating with the start of tonight. Just seeing all of the Ducklings, their times getting better, them getting more confident, them getting excited and more excited about the randomizer. And it's just been a blast, and I'm glad to hear everybody's having so much fun. And we've got 3 more weeks of Duck Derby, so it's not over yet.
It is indeed plenty of time to go. It's going to be interesting to see how all of this shakes out. Obviously, the people at the front of the pack get a nice point boost, but everyone is still going to get points just for finishing. And with 40 people in the pool, like that is a wide spread. Anyone can get lucky. Anyone can shoot up near the front. Anyone can have a bad time in Temple of Fiends and suddenly drop a few slots. It's going to be interesting to see how the next couple days or next couple races shake out, and just what happens with the leaderboard. And we invite you to stay tuned here on the number of broadcasters that we are streaming these races on every Monday at 9 o'clock. RPG Limit Break, of course, our host here for these 4 racers tonight, also on Speed Gaming as well as Randomania as well, to get 12 of our Ducklings up every day. This is a huge event, and we are so proud of all the Ducks for coming out and being a part of it. For myself, DarkmanEX in the booth, along with Sir Linkalot and Chad behind the scenes doing all of our tracking and note-taking, doing a fantastic job over there. Want to thank all of you guys for watching. If you're interested in what you saw, like Final Fantasy Randomizer here, want to be a part of the community, see what the game is all about, go to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. Find the randomizer right there, check out the game, and then we have links to the Discord and the development Discord there as well. Please come and watch us again next Monday, and stay tuned through all of the channels that we're with for anything else we might have going on throughout the week, including, I know, Thursday we'll have a fun flex that we're going to be running, I think, over on Speed Gaming, so stay tuned for that as well. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next Monday, and until then, you guys have yourself a great evening.